I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
No. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction.
I've abandoned free market principles to save the free market system.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Raising the debt ceilings does not increase our debt. It does not somehow promote profligacy.
I know words. I have the best words. Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why I alone can fix it.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday, and welcome back to the Peddling Fiction podcast, hopefully with a functional microphone and a decent sound system that will not be picking up all of the extracurricular noise back there. You know, I, of course, am your host, the voice and soul of so-called fiction, Johnny Profita, and broadcasting from a cave deep behind enemy lines somewhere in Alaska, I think, when it's dark 24 hours a day, is Justin Hillbilly Boy Campbell. I'm guessing there's no construction by you because they've been banging on shit for the last, well, actually, this morning they weren't working. So I don't know, maybe they all tied one off last night because usually they wake me up at about, you know, if I'm not up, they're waking me up at 8:30 with saws buzzing and banging on shit. Nothing today until 5 minutes before we turn the mics on, and then they get it going.
It's that Mexican work ethic.
Yes. Yeah. But what is going on? Why are you sitting in a dark cave?
All right, so
Didn't pay the electric bill?
The light comes through this window like way too the sun, the way the sun hits, it comes right through this window at this time of day. And with the snow and everything, it's like fluorescent. Like I can't even fucking see. Like, so I've got the window covered up so that I can see you. Basically, is how this works. Also, yeah. So my daughter and I spent the weekend watching movies and stuff, and the sun was coming through the window, and the TV is like right there behind me, so it's window to TV. So I was like, I'm gonna cover up the window so that we can watch the movie, like, you know, without the glare. And I covered it like I do when I sleep in here, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, it's darker in here right now than it is outside when it's nighttime." I was like, "Yes, see, now y'all understand why I sleep in the garage. I can make it so dark out here you can't even tell that it's day."
Yeah, you gotta love some good blackout curtains and things like that. Really changed the dynamic of the room. You know, I think is that what like causes cataracts, is like exposing your eyes to sunlight and like the reflection off of snow and stuff like that? Am I right about that?
I know it's not good for you. I know it's not good for you. I don't know if it causes cataracts. Like, they recommend that you should, like, if you're working in outdoors in the snow, you should wear like safety glasses, like tinted safety glasses. Yeah,
with like the UV protection or whatever.
Yeah.
Polarized. Polarized? Is that the word I was looking for? Yeah. All right. What's up, Spud Ruckus? Shit. Well, we teased a few confirmation hearings on the last episode. I don't know if you want to start with that or if you want to start with the farewell address from our commander in chief.
Let's send Biden out on a strong note. And then we'll dive into the which. All right. So which clip do you want to start with with
the full one? Let's just listen to some of it. We don't have to listen to the whole thing.
Okay.
Let's see how he thinks his presidency went, and then we'll compare it to reality. Because I haven't really listened to this yet.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from the Oval Office. Before I begin, let me speak to important news from earlier today. After 8 months of nonstop negotiation, my administration, by my administration, a ceasefire and a hostage.
Okay. Pause it right there. So wait, he's taking credit for the ceasefire now.
Yeah,
After 8 months of vicious negotiations, and due only in fact because Dark Brandon went ham on everybody over there. They finally hammered out a ceasefire deal that, if I'm not mistaken, I think Hamas agreed to this like in the middle of last year at some point.
Right. Hamas was trying to get a ceasefire a long time ago, and Israel was like, nah, fuck that. We want to keep murdering y'all.
And Biden bent over for them. Well, they were negotiating. They were negotiating very hard for 8 months.
There's somebody there. So I saw a post earlier. I guess it was last night while I was at work. But I saw a post that effectively said what happened was, and this was like from somebody in Israeli media. So what happened was Trump basically went over there and like put the smackdown on Benjamin Netanyahu and was like, "You're going to end this, or it's going to be bad when I get in office." And so then Netanyahu's like, "Okay, we're going to do it." And so now Biden gets to take credit for it, but they say that it was Trump. But
of course, yeah. I mean, just the timing of it. Trump sends an envoy over there, and the next day, all of a sudden, 8 months of negotiations pay off. Had nothing to do with Donald Trump at all. Of course, it was just Joe Biden, who nobody knows what he's been doing for the last 8 months, let alone the last fucking 3 years. But
look, we are literally 30 seconds into this, and he has stumbled and stammered the entire time. Like, he hasn't gotten a full, just like unbroken sentence out yet.
With just outright bullshit, dude. Does anybody really believe that he is responsible for negotiating this ceasefire? Seriously? I mean, come on. They started doing this in like May or June of last year. I think there was a deal on the table, and Hamas is like, "Yep, we'll take it." And Israel's like, "No fucking way." And he bends over for 8 months. And then 2 days before Donald Trump gets inaugurated, they're like, "Okay, ceasefire." All right.
I think Biden at this point is just doing whatever the fuck he wants. Like, I don't think he cares anymore. I think he's just going to go out and say whatever he wants and do whatever he wants. Because what was it, like 3 weeks ago, Karine Jean-Pierre said that he wouldn't be taking any more questions or talking to the press anymore. And then he's done like 2 more press conferences or interviews or shit like this. Like this might be the third. Like I think he's just doing whatever he wants. He's like, yeah, well, I'm on my way out. They're gonna kill me as soon as I'm gone anyway. I may as well.
He's already pardoned Hunter and a bunch of other people. So, yeah, I don't think he has anything to lose. So, yeah, might as well. Okay, well, let's keep rolling. Sorry, there's a lot to get through. 17 minutes of this.
Oh man, he's worried because he's not sure how he's going to sit in between Trump. Like he's trying to get him to go ahead and just like off him as soon as he gets out of office. Because he's not sure how he's going to sit between Trump 45 and Trump 47 going forward at all the like big political things. Because you know how the presidents all sit next to each other? He's like, yeah. How are they going to squeeze me in between Donald Trump?
Well, when are they going to put him in a fucking wheelchair and just start wheeling him around?
Jimmy Carter him.
Yeah. Over under fucking 3 months.
This plan was developed and negotiated by my team and will be largely implemented by the incoming administration. That's why I told my team to keep the incoming administration fully informed, because that's how it should be, working together as Americans. This will be my final address to you from the American people from the Oval Office, from this desk as president.
Christ.
And I've been thinking a lot about who we are and maybe more importantly, who we should be. Long ago in New York Harbor, an iron worker installed beam after beam, day after day. He was joined by steel workers, stonemasons, engineers. They built not just a single structure, but a beacon of freedom. The very idea of America was so big, we felt the entire world needed to see. The Statue of Liberty, a gift from France after our Civil War. Like the very idea of America, it was built not by one person, but by many people from every background and from around the world. Like America, The Statue of Liberty is not standing still. Her foot literally steps forward atop a broken chain of human bondage. She's on the march, and she literally moves. She's built to sway back and forth to withstand the fury of stormy weather, to stand the test of time because storms are always coming. She sways a few inches, but she never falls into the current below.
Oh shit! Statue's coming down pretty soon.
The Statue of Liberty is also an enduring symbol of the soul of our nation. A soul shaped by forces that bring us together and by forces that pull us apart. And yet through good times and tough times.
Pause it here. Because the soul of our nation, remember, this was his thing. He was running for president to save the soul of our nation, which was completely corrupted by Donald Trump's election the first time in 2016. So I'll just take a step back. If he's running to save the soul of the nation from Donald Trump and company, and 4 years later, Donald Trump and company are retaking the White House, they're regaining, they're reassuming the position. How can you say that your presidency was a success? His very first thing, Charlottesville, soul of the nation, racism, evil Donald Trump, Hitler, all that stuff.
Well,
and Hitler's coming back in with a fucking mandate.
Well, and then this, what Spud is saying, the Statue of Liberty was built by English and Irish and Italians. It wasn't like they act like it was some like melting pot that it was a bunch of white folks. I mean, like I guess Italian is almost.
It was the first wave of like poor immigrants that were doing all that kind of labor. Yeah. I just, the fact that even him, like, he shouldn't even be able to utter the word liberty. There's a guy that would fucking lock down the country, would force you to get drugs injected into your body against your will, has never met a problem where the solution isn't more government control and intervention into your life every single time. He's just going to say, wow, the rich got to pay their fair share, and we got to take more of your money to do this. We got to take more of your money to do that. We can't let these companies run amok. We need to censor the Facebook and all that shit. Nowhere in any of his fucking actions or legislations or anything like that is liberty a fucking primary focus. He's the antithesis of liberty. It's really fucking something that these politicians that rob from people at the threat of fucking gunpoint can talk about liberty with a straight face.
But then the billionaires are the problem. We're coming into the American oligarchy.
I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra wealthy people. The dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before. More than a century ago, but the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy. They just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to. Workers want rights to earn their fair share. They were dealt into the deal, and it helped put us on a path to building the largest middle class, the most prosperous century any nation in the world has ever seen. We've got to do that again. In the last 4 years, that's exactly what we've done. People should be able to make as much as they can, but play by the same rules, pay their fair share of taxes.
Okay, dude, that's the most incoherent shit I think I've ever heard from him, and that's saying a lot. Did you write
a Substack about the robber barons?
I did a whole podcast on it years ago.
I thought, I knew you had something about it.
Yeah, maybe I'll link to that in the description because I broke it down for like an hour straight. How that's all just complete bullshit, dude.
Well, and on the old Peddling Fiction YouTube channel, I had put together some clips from that, like because I when we first started doing this, I was making clips, and I found some of your old episodes and clipped some stuff that I thought was interesting. And I knew that you had done something about the robber barons at some point in the past, and it was like,
yeah, I should link to that.
That we're coming into a new era of robber barons. Oh my god!
Which again, dude, he starts out by like this is his farewell address where he's trying to make the case that like he did a great job as president, and apparently just today now we're being overtaken by this oligarchy for the first, as if the concentration of power is a new thing in Washington and they need to get rid of it, which is absolutely ridiculous. But if that's true, well then again, your presidency failed on another level. That if Donald Trump was the biggest threat to democracy ever, and on Monday he gets officially inaugurated into the fucking Oval Office.
Like the crazy thing is, they weren't worried about Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos, or especially George Soros, when they've been funding the Democrats for literally forever. But now, just within the last 2 or 3 years, Elon Musk has flipped and become more conservative-ish. Zuckerberg is now rolling back the fact checkers and censorship on Facebook. He and Bezos Bezos wrote that op-ed in Washington Post saying they're not going to do the DEI woke bullshit anymore. Like Bezos and Zuckerberg have both gone to Mar-a-Lago and both contributed money to Trump's inauguration party and all of that stuff, which for the record, they always do. They
you got to kiss the ring.
Right. They donated money to Biden's inauguration party whenever he came in. They donated money to Trump's inauguration party the first time around. That's how this works.
Yes. So yeah, this is not like a news flash that rich people and special interests with a bunch of fucking money behind them have more control over the government than the American people. The Statue of Liberty, this idea, this is a country of the people, by the people, for the people. That's all complete bullshit. It's on full display now. He's admitting to it. He's saying that it's just happening now. But I mean, come on, dude. Just in our lifetime, we had the fucking biggest bailout of the banking industry in the 2009 collapse. And then what happened during COVID? They bailed out the airlines and all these other fucking huge industries. What the government does is it robs, speaking of robber baron, they rob from the fucking poor and they funnel all this money to the rich. That's what's been going on. That's not how this fucking thing that we built the middle class by busting Standard Oil, and John D. Rockefeller paid his fair share, and we built the middle class off of that somehow, is absolutely ridiculous. And if that was true, why then, as we continue to tax people more and more, they'll never tell you what the fair share is, but the percentage that people are paying now is a hell of a lot more than the initial percentage that they introduced when they first came up with the income tax in fucking 1913. So and I've said this before, right after, post Civil War up until the creation of the Federal Reserve was the greatest, most prosperous period in American history. And we had nothing. We had very little federal government that was funded through, import taxes and things like that. There was no minimum wage. There were no labor unions, and there was no fucking Social Security. There was no nothing. Medicare, Medicaid, there was none of that. And we went from riding horses and farming to flying fucking airplanes. It's dude, the amount of wealth that was created before we created this monstrosity of a federal government was life-changing. And then you just look at what's happened in the 110, 12 years since then. And it's dude, this is fucking pathetic. We should be living like the goddamn Jetsons. But Federal Reserve comes in, income tax comes in, and they start fucking taking whatever they think your fair share is, which is now upwards of 50% in most states where you're a high earner. But even the poorest people among us pay 20 times what they were supposed to pay initially under the first income tax proposal. So if that, you would think if more taxes equals more prosperity, what the fuck is happening? What's happening here? Because we are taxing billionaires. We absolutely are. A lot more than we were pre-income tax when they built all these fucking crazy things and we figured out how to use fucking oil and I mean, everything, dude. Steam engine, all this shit was fucking created without any of this government, without any of this oversight and regulation. It wasn't like directed from the government on downwards, and nobody was paying any taxes. You'd make $5 a day, but it was worth fucking basically $25 in today's money. Oh, actually way more than that, like $100 in today's money. And you got to keep all of it. Even like the poorest workers among us were buying fucking houses and raising kids with a minimum wage, a livable wage by today's standards. And the government steps in to try to help things, and they're going to make the rich pay their fair share. Well, they've been making them pay. I don't know what we're taking in taxes now, 5-6 trillion a year.
4.8 last time I looked was the last, or the 4.8 was the last reported annual number that I saw.
Yeah. Okay, so like 4 trillion more than they took in before, and everything's exponentially worse. And yet they just keep repeating this fucking line like NPC. Oh, the rich got to pay their fair share. We need to play by the same rules. Do I get to play by the Biden rules where I just get to fucking take money through my crackhead son from foreign powers for dealing in political favors? Do I get to do that? That'd be fun. Yeah. Can I get a no-show job for $500,000 a year on a fucking Ukrainian board? What? Can I play by those rules? Do I get to insider trade? Do I get to fucking decide which companies get to stay in business and which ones are going to get audited and on the chopping block? And I get to trade on that information before it becomes public, like Nancy Pelosi? Do I get to play by those rules? It'd be nice. I'd like to be on a fucking yacht somewhere.
Speaking of, that actually ties into another topic for today. But let's let Joe finish his speech before we do.
Yeah, this is perfect.
In his farewell address, President Eisenhower spoke of the dangers of the military-industrial complex. He warned us then about, and I quote, the potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power, end of quote. His farewell address, President Eisenhower.
Dude, I'm sorry. I wish he was funny enough to be trolling with that, but he Ron Burgundied it one last time for us, reading the end quote from the teleprompter. It just doesn't get any better than that. Classic vintage Joe Biden there. Gotta love it. Oh yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, take it all. They're spending $7 trillion this year. How much do all the billionaires have combined?
I actually did the math on this, and it's a little more than a month. It's 8 weeks. 8 weeks is how long the entire collected wealth of every billionaire in the United States, if fully confiscated, it could run the government for 8 weeks.
And that's assuming that the net worth doesn't collapse the second they start fire sailing all their stock options. Like, let's assume they get top dollar for that, the current price, and it doesn't move, and they get to sell all of that. That would fund the government for how long?
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
8 fucking weeks. But yes, please tell me how they're fair. What's the fair share then that's going to solve all of this? It's fucking impossible, dude. It's absolutely impossible. Just basic. Well, nobody knows basic arithmetic anymore because they've grown up in government schools. They got the Common Core thing. How many different fucking like slashes and shit do you need to draw on your piece of paper to make that math work? Idiots.
My kids would bring their math homework home for the Common Core stuff, and I would teach them how to solve the problem. And then I'd be like, now just like draw some shit and make it look like you did Common Core. I was like, I'll teach you how to do math. It's your job to figure out how to make it look the way the teachers want it, so that you could like, I'll give you the right, I'll give you the way to get the right answer. You got to figure out how to like make them buy that you did it their way.
Yeah, I remember like you have to show your work on like the math problems. This is back when you actually did real math. Like, and it was like, show your work. You can't just like come up with the answer somehow. They would like deduct a point or something if you didn't really show your work, but somehow you arrived at the right answer.
I had a math teacher that like you had to actually show your work too, because like I was really good at math, so I would skip a bunch of steps. Like I would look at it and I would be working it out in my head, and I'd get the answer, and then I would have to like backtrack how I got the answer in my work, and he would be like, he would come up and he'd be like, you got the right answer, but show your work. You didn't show your work. He's like, what? Like, what is all of this? I'm like, dude, I figured that out in my head. I don't know. Like, I didn't write it down.
Right. I don't know if it's like a way of like accusing you of cheating or something, or it's just like, yeah, no, I didn't just like look on somebody else's paper. I just did the math, dude. I don't know. I was never that good at math, but I would figure it out with like a calculator or something, and then I'd have to. Anyway, yeah, it's just, God damn it, dude. Joe Biden. What? I mean, they're going to tell you that his presidency was such a success. I'm sure in that the rest of that longer clip, the 17 minutes, he talks about all the jobs that he created, which we've documented on this podcast, are all complete bullshit. The new ones, and then the 15 million line that he's been trotting, like those are all just jobs that existed before the COVID lockdowns, and they just went back into those jobs. So he's pretending like he created those. So he created 0 jobs. Inflation reached astronomical proportions on his watch. Now it's not completely his fault, but he did absolutely nothing legislatively to curb that, despite the massive piece of legislation appropriately named the Inflation Reduction Act. Highest inflation on record like since the 70s. And it, like you've pointed out many times, it's still not going down. It's just not going up as fast as it was. So yeah, the economy is a fucking disaster, dead up to our eyeballs. Well, thanks to Trump, the Middle East might not be in as bad of shape as it was, but you still got the war in Ukraine going on. Who knows if China's going to try to take Taiwan? That would be pretty bad. So yeah, and he's admitted that if what he was saying was true for the last 8 years or something, that Donald Trump is Hitler and a threat to democracy, and the soul of the nation is on the line. Well, I guess you can wave goodbye to the soul of the nation, because on Monday it's back to where we were right before Joe Biden tried to save the soul of the nation. All right, so how are they doing so far over there? Oh shit.
Okay, so talking about like the insider trading type stuff and everything, that actually brings us to an interesting topic that we had teased on Wednesday: the TikTok ban. Now, why would a TikTok ban trigger me to say something about insider trading and stuff like that? I don't know. Maybe because as the Supreme Court upholds the TikTok ban, many members of Congress bought Meta stock as they were voting to ban TikTok. Congressman Michael McCall, who wrote the TikTok ban bill, invested $1.15 million into Meta after writing the bill.
These motherfuckers, dude. Yeah, I'd like to play by these rules. Can I play by these rules, Mr. Joe Biden? Is that okay? Can I insider trade? Let's check the Meta stock right now. See how we're doing. Jesus Christ, $612 a share.
Is that up or down, or like how's that?
Well, this is so I'm on a 2-minute chart. There was a massive whipsaw today, yesterday. It went from 611 up to 625 and then down to 604. Let's look at a daily chart. When was that fucking post?
I mean, the TikTok ban. When did that go in?
It goes into effect, I think, on Sunday if they don't, because the Supreme Court just upheld the ruling or whatever.
I don't remember
when
when it got passed.
Yeah.
When it got passed.
I mean, it's basically at all-time highs. I mean, 636 is about the all-time high. It's at 613 right now.
This is what I don't understand about the TikTok ban is how can the Supreme Court uphold that it's constitutional to force a Chinese company to
Liberty.
sell?
Liberty, son. Liberty.
And you know what the big problem is, right? So TikTok does not share any data with the federal government. Kind of like how I guess they don't lobby. So like Apple also doesn't sell any of their data to the federal government. Like they're keeping all of your data just for them. Well, TikTok is keeping all of your data just for China, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, your data is going to somebody, whether you know it or not. It doesn't it's not like you're keeping your data one way or the other. But anyway, so TikTok will not share any of that data with the U.S. government. Also, TikTok is progressively becoming a search platform. People are using it to search the internet for stuff. So and it's where it's one of the reasons that like YouTube and Facebook started doing reels and stuff like that and shorts, because they realized they were losing out to TikTok on these short videos and stuff like that. So that's ABC, Google being threatened with the search engine stuff, Facebook and YouTube being threatened with video content stuff. And also, did you know that there's a TikTok shop where it's basically like Amazon, except that the Chinese company that runs TikTok does not allow the shitty Chinese manufacturers to sell their shit on TikTok. So it's all like actually good, legitimate stuff on there. So they're also posing a threat to all of the big like tech, to ABC and Google, to Meta, and to Amazon. Like that's why there's a TikTok ban going into effect. It's not because like China is evil or something. It's because TikTok is moving in the direction of usurping all of the big tech behemoths in the US that just dump billions and billions of dollars into the federal government and lobbying to get them to make all of the rules in their favor.
Yep. And who the federal government can in turn control to some extent.
To a lot of extent. Did you see the Zuckerberg interview where he said that they were like, if you don't, or you have to take down this stuff about the clot shots? And he said, no, we're not going to do that. And then they just started coming after him and Meta. Like, it was like, either you're going to do this or we're going to ruin your fucking life.
Pretty much. So, yeah, it was first proposed in 2020. And if you go like before the COVID shit, about $222 a share. The legislation was passed in the House in March of last year, and then by the Senate in April. And it's up, like 20% since then. It gapped up. So in February, it was like right before the House passed the legislation. It was at $392 a share. So yeah, now it's at 612. It'll probably get up above all-time highs pretty soon. So okay, yeah, must be nice. Criticizing Israel, yeah.
There's also that.
Anyway, yeah. So it is pretty fucking ridiculous that the government can just get together and be like, yo, you have to either divest from the Chinese interest in this company, or we're going to ban you. And remember, Joe Biden, all about liberty, Everything's about liberty until we don't like your company, and then we're just gonna fucking force you. We're gonna ban you from doing business here because you're not gonna sell when we tell you to sell. All right, that's exactly what the Statue of Liberty stands for, of course. Yeah, unbelievable, man.
All right, so I guess libs of TikTok is gonna have to change their handle to libs of Red Note, whatever Red Note is. The liberals are flocking to Red Note, an app controlled by China, to replace TikTok. Turns out they ban LGBTQ content, all inappropriate outfits, and they acknowledge that there are only two genders. Like the libs of Red Note is not going to work out all that well. Although I think what my buddy Trey was saying this morning when we were doing the morning show was that Red Note like literally translates from Chinese to like Red Book, so it's like a play on Mao's Little Red Book.
Oh man, that's pretty funny. Well, we'll see how long it takes for it to be flooded with child porn. What was the thing called? What's the acronym?
CP. Is that what you're talking about, or what?
No, the one for like child content.
Oh,
we had to look it up on the last time we were ranting about pedophiles.
Yeah, I'm not looking that up again. Okay. And look, I covered that 4-part series on the LGBT pedophile ring in Georgia, and like I've that's been a couple years ago now, and I've had to take a break. Like I actively try to avoid that stuff just because it's like that shit's fucking soul sucking. Like just to even talk about what is happening with that. Like wood chippers are not harsh enough for those people.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think I did send you. There was like some dude, some cartoonist for the was it the Washington Post? Just got busted with a bunch of child porn.
Yeah, speak of the devil. Man, did you see the okay. Washington Post cartoonist arrested for possession of child pornography. Did you see, where is it? There it is. This is one of his cartoons. It's I mean, who was the dude that debunked Pizzagate was then also later found with like tons of child porn and all kinds of, and had been like soliciting minors and all kinds of other shit, and like he's going away for a very long time. Like that, man, like once or twice is a coincidence, but
they're batting 1,000. Yeah, of course. Yeah, all he does, he's got a bunch of like LGBTQ fucking cartoons and shit, and yeah, turns out hundreds of videos or something on his computer attached to his account.
A prominent California-based comic strip creator, cartoonist, and author has been arrested on suspicion of possession and creating child pornography. The incident is added to a growing list of arrests of establishment news employees and syndicated content creators for child abuse over the past couple of years. Golly. 134 videos of child pornography linked to an account owned and controlled by Bell, as well as computer-generated and artificial intelligence child porn. So this dude's really sick. Like he's doodling, diddling kids.
Yeah, doodling and diddling. Yep. You can't say I'm surprised. Can't make this up. It's just like everything that they're accusing, other people of doing, they're guilty of themselves. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
But somehow they think they have the moral high ground. Wasn't somebody passing legislation to? Was that in Oh, that was a different story. That was in Chicago. Which, yeah, we have a couple. I sent you a couple of shithole Chicago things. I don't know if we should cue that up now or not.
Yeah, we can go ahead and let me roll the music on that one.
Walking down the street, the shithole Chicago, where the wind is cold and the people are low. Broken down buildings, ain't no place to go. But the music keeps playing in shithole Chicago.
This one is really fun. I really like this one. So the article you sent is paywalled. I can pull it up, but it doesn't have anything.
Yeah, I think I might have sent you another one. Or maybe I just flagged another one.
The ratings agency downgrades Chicago's credit, pointing to structural budgetary imbalance. Following the agency warning over Mayor Johnson's 2025 budget, the S&P has downgraded the city of Chicago's general obligation debt late on Monday, citing structural imbalance in the just passed 2025 budget. So the S&P looked at the budget that Brandon Johnson passed, and they're like, yeah, y'all are getting a rating downgrade on that one. Sorry.
Yeah, and it was is this the one that's paywalled, or can you scroll down?
I can scroll down on this one. Hang on. I've got the text only on the
it was like there's an imbalance. There's no real new streams of revenue that you could realistically tap into. What's the rate? Does it tell you what the rating is yet? Is it junk yet? What's Chicago's credit rating?
Let's see. The downgrade isn't only a reputational hit. It could also increase the city's cost to borrow money for long-term projects like Johnson's $1.25 billion housing and development bond, which is slated to go to the market early this year.
It's down to BBB from a BBB plus. So it's still, I mean, that's way too high if you ask me. Considering
remember a few years ago when the federal government got their rating downgraded, and Joe Biden was like, "Yeah, we're just not going to acknowledge that. Like, we're still doing fine. We don't pay attention to them. They don't know what they're talking about."
To be fair, the rating agencies did lose a lot of credibility, marking subprime mortgages and mortgage-backed securities AAA. But, yeah, budget imbalance. Yeah, they're only off by like $1 billion. It's just a little rounding error there. They'll get it figured out. God damn it. Hilarious. I think did I send you everything I had on that? Maybe not. There might be some really good comments in that post.
Oh, I was gonna say, as if that's not bad enough just for the city of Chicago. Chicago is dragging the rest of the state of Illinois down with them.
Yeah. Although I clicked on this because I was like, ooh, tell me how they're becoming worse. And they're just decriminalizing prostitution. Hey, that's a new stream of revenue. There's a new stream of revenue for them. They've legalized gambling. Now they're legalizing prostitution, which I'm fine with. But it's pretty funny that, yeah, all of a sudden they just don't give a shit about any of these. All their fucking morals go out the window. Yep. I mean, they need to try to find a new stream of revenue.
I mean, they at least nail it in the article. Illinois Democrats are looking for tax dollars. Casinos, video gambling, sports betting, liquor, cannabis, like they're just rolling everything out so they can make money off of it. Which another interesting thing about that is that's also leading. Now, I don't know if this is necessarily a net win for them, but that's also led to a number of counties in the state of Illinois that have referendums to secede from the state and leave to join other states. All of these in the dark blue actually are wanting to join Indiana for some reason. And I'm not sure what the other ones are trying to do, but Like everything south of Chicago is trying to like flee the state. Like,
yeah. I mean, they're literally they're basically one notch above junk status at this point. So if they're triple B, you got triple B minus, and then you start getting into junk. So they're still considered investment grade. I think that's a very favorable interpretation of their fiscal situation. Moody's hasn't downgraded them yet, although maybe that's coming. Where does Moody's have them? Moody's has them Baa3 plus. I don't even know what that fucking means, but I'm guessing that's one notch above junk as well. So yeah, if you want to buy some junk bonds, get them from the city of Chicago. Brandon Johnson's got a sizable structural budget imbalance that we expect will make balancing the budget in 2026 and out years more challenging. What else do they say? Some reason I can read this article.
oh,
The chief financial officer says the downgrade does not accurately reflect the strength of the city's credit or its ability to meet steep debt obligations and pension obligations. Yeah, no, it cannot meet those obligations.
it's from the Chicago Tribune, and you get X number of free articles to read before you get hit with the paywall. And apparently I have hit my limit of free articles from the Chicago Tribune.
Yeah. Let's see.
See, this is the problem: is I read all this shit from these like leftist rags, and then I run through my free number of articles that I can read.
Yeah. So S&P doesn't think they're on very solid footing here. I always just think they still give you like way too favorable grades. All of these rating agencies. I mean, you got $1 billion hole in your budget. That's not junk status.
The city council narrowly approved a $17.1 billion spending plan on December 16th after months of intense debate over how to close a $982.4 million deficit. Just call it $1 billion deficit.
We're going to round up. Yeah.
Johnson's initial budget proposal, which included a $300 million property tax hike, was unanimously rejected by the city council. Just think, Johnny, if you still had your condo, you could pay even more in property taxes this year.
Dude, they jacked mine up by fucking 20% right before I got out of there. That was fun.
$300 million in property tax hikes. I wonder how many.
Yeah.
What?
So like literally like 2.5 years ago, they increased property taxes from anywhere from 20 to 50%, depending on what neighborhood you were in the city of Chicago, or maybe Cook County. And now they're coming back to the fucking trough for more. There's just, dude, the only possible solution to all these problems is to stop spending money. You cannot keep taxing people. There's just not enough tax dollars to go around. You're spending too much. This is very simple. Cut something. Cut a lot.
The problem is the stuff that they need to cut are all of the pensions that are going to just drag them down into the fucking Great Lakes, basically.
Yeah, right. Because all of these there's just been this huge fucking money pump in Chicago. Teachers unions get the politicians elected. The politicians give them a fucking huge pay increase with crazy benefits. You can literally retire at fucking 55 years old. My uncle did this. He's been retired for fucking, dude, he's like almost 80. Okay? He's pushing 80. He's been retired for as long as he actually worked, earning 80% of his salary plus fucking benefits for the last 25 fucking years. He just golfs all the time. Like, how could that possibly work out? You could retire at 55. Like, he probably worked for 20 years. He's been in retirement longer than he actually worked, and he's making just as much money when you probably average it out, because you get 80% of your 3 highest earning years. So, yeah. Okay. Good luck with that, Chicago. And I'm guessing the weather there is not very nice this week. If it's anything like the weather by you.
Remember a few years ago when they made all the big deal about, oh my gosh, this is the first year Chicago hasn't had a snow, climate change. And then the very next year they got like 22 feet or something.
Yeah, hammered. Right. Just stop with the climate stuff, ladies and gentlemen. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I don't know much about it, but I know that you've been wrong about everything. You freak out about these like one-off incidents. We had an earthquake here on this past Sunday morning. That almost never happens. It's usually in September. Okay. Let's freak out about that. It's just like, dude, this shit's just gonna happen.
Yeah, we've had snow for the past week and a half. It's 50 today. It's also gonna rain tomorrow, and then it's gonna be 20 again on Monday. Right. It's cold weather.
Yes, and it tends to change from time to time. But if we like the one decent like piece of information we have of like historical temperatures comes from those iceberg core samples, and it's like, yeah, no, we're actually colder than the average over the last like I don't know how many thousands of years, and it tends to fluctuate a couple degrees each way.
Yeah, we're in a relatively like from the ice core samples and stuff, we're in what they consider to be a relatively like mild period.
Yeah. Okay. And personally, if I have my choice, I'd prefer it to be warmer. I'm okay with getting a little warmer.
So have we talked about this before? Remember there used to be the big like global warming thing. They used to call it was always global warming this, global warming that. You know, they talked about El Nino and La Niñas, but it was always global warming, global warming, global warming. And then, very abruptly, it became climate change. Well, what they found was through a number of like different polls and studies that were conducted, people actually felt very positively about global warming. Most people don't like cold weather, and everybody kind of agreed that, okay, global, like more summer. Okay, cool. Global warming sounds like a good idea. So then when global warming wasn't inducing the panic that they intended for it to, then they changed to climate change.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't some like, you know, oh, the science was settled and then it wasn't, and now it's climate change. It's not actually just global warming. It's there were a bunch
we need
of
to freak people out so we can get more money.
Right. There were a bunch of polls that were conducted that determined that people actually thought climate change sounded like a good idea, and then it wasn't getting the fear and mongering that they were needing it to. That's really the long and short of it.
It really is just it's absolutely fucking hilarious that people still fucking fall for this and that they think they can have an effect. Like, okay, yeah, no, I think the planet's going to be just fine. I wouldn't worry about it.
If you just give 90% of your income and every single billionaire gives 100% of theirs, we can solve the climate crisis.
Yeah, just right after, you know, Hunter Biden will buy another mansion. The Obamas will get another fucking place, not on Martha's Vineyard this time, but some other coastal elitist area. Yeah. Yeah. And Nancy Pelosi will get another couple $100 million in her bank account. And meanwhile, you'll be living, hand to mouth, working 2-3 jobs. Yeah. For the crumbs off their fucking table. Sounds like a great plan. Sounds like a great fucking plan. Whatever happened to the ozone layer? That was all I ever heard about as a kid.
Yeah, remember that there were like multiple
episodes. Hole in the ozone. Oh no.
Yeah, there were multiple episodes of Captain Planet where they talked about how these like sheep in Brazil were getting scorched because of the holes in the ozone layer or some shit.
I guess, once they banned the hairsprays, that fixed everything. I'm surprised they haven't taken credit for it.
Is that what it was?
I'm pretty sure it was all the hairspray in the 80s.
I mean, probably has something to do with it, I'm sure. But
it's more plausible than like cow farts.
That's the thing is like, have you looked at those studies? Like they talk about for a long time they demonized the automobile industry, that people needed to stop driving cars so much because we were putting all this CO2 into the atmosphere and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, well, but like there were studies that were done that showed that the cattle population of the planet actually generates somewhere in the neighborhood of like 6 to 7 times the amount of methane gas that every automobile on the planet produces. So it's like, okay, well, like, sure, you could ban all automobiles, but the cows are still going to destroy the atmosphere. So, like, what are you going to do about that? This is why people who eat meat, like any non-vegans, are a danger to the climate, because you have to have all of these animals to feed the meat eaters. And so now you've got all these animals creating. It's like, okay, wait. Are y'all suggesting just like wiping out every animal species on the fucking planet? Because that's effectively what you would have to do. Like, you do realize that deer and elk and bison and like all of these things are like similar to bovine intestinal type stuff. So they're all generating methane gas and farting nonstop. Like, you're just gonna wipe out all wildlife on the planet to stop the climate crisis.
We have to wipe out the planet to save the planet.
I personally only eat like meat and potatoes for the most part. I think I am an environmental hero because I am taking care of the cattle problem.
That's right. Doing my part.
That's right. Eat more steak.
Have you started watching that show Landman?
No, Dad watches it. My dad, every time I log in, I see it's first on the list. Dad has been watching it, and he was like,
"It's good." Yeah, and
he was like, "I hope you don't mind. I've been logging into your account and watching stuff." And I'm like, "That's fine. That's why I gave you the login information." Like,
yeah, no, I highly recommend it. But yeah, I mean, it's about an oil company in Texas, essentially. And Billy Bob Thornton's in it. And he goes on these like fucking tirades against these like, millennial-ish, or what's Gen Z or whatever. Like Gen Z, like just goes on these fucking tirades schooling them on fucking, oil versus all these alternative energy sources and vegan versus fucking meat eater. It's great. It's actually a legitimately entertaining show, and it really fucking just annihilate some of these ridiculous positions that climate change activists have.
All right, I'm gonna have to sit down and watch it then, I guess. I tried to get, speaking of Billy Bob, that made me think, I tried to get Stephanie to watch the Fargo series from FX.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Varsity Blues.
Billy Bob's not in Varsity. Oh, that was
the character's name is Billy Bob.
Oh, no, Billy Bob Thornton, wasn't he in Friday Night Lights? Anyway. He's in the first season of the FX Fargo series, and I tried to get Stephanie to watch that.
That's a good one.
It is really good, right? She was like,
"Yeah,
how do you watch this stuff?" I was like, "I'm sorry that it's not like a crime docudrama. Like, I actually enjoy stuff that's like entertaining, not just."
Yeah, there were actually a couple good seasons. I think that was probably my favorite season. I'm trying to remember back to the other ones, but they were all like pretty good. But the first one with him was fucking killer. Yeah.
And there was there was a big deal made of the one with Chris Rock and oh my gosh, they made Fargo woke. It's like, yeah, but if you go watch that season, it's actually really good. Like,
I don't think I saw that one. That
must the way the story ties into the other stories that came in the seasons before, because all of the seasons tie together somehow. Like, they're all set in different time periods, and they all like kind of revolve around the same families and like people that are connected to it. Like, there was a big deal made about the one with Chris Rock, and they're making it woke. It's like, yeah, but if you go and you actually sit down and watch it, the way that season ties into the others and some of the background and stuff, it's really good. And it's got kind of a mobster feel to it. It's kind of cool. It's like, I don't know. There are some things that, yes, I get the like DEI woke bullshit, but also I'm willing to sit down and give it a shot. And if it's actually good, then I can admit that it's actually good, even if it does seem like, I get it. But also,
it's just like anything else. As long as you're entertaining, like, we can overlook a certain amount of that shit that they throw out there.
Well, I think we have talked about that before. It's like, I don't care if they put gay characters in shows. I don't care if they put all the DEI characters in shows. Just make them good. Like when the character's entire persona is I'm a black lesbian or whatever. It's like, okay, but like what makes you interesting?
Does that bring anything to the story here, or we're just
right? Like if it's a good character, I know I've talked about it. There's a show called Friends from College, and one of the main characters in the show was gay, and I was like halfway through the first season before I even realized that he was gay. It's like they're doing his gay wedding. It's like, wait, he's gay? Like it was just a good character. It's like, and after the wedding, like being gay is never really a big deal. It was never a big deal up to that point. They do the wedding. It's never a big deal again. Like it's him and his husband are like interesting, good characters. The fact that they're gay is inconsequential to their good characters. Why don't they make stuff like that? Like you can have all of the bullshit characters that you want as long as they actually contribute something to the story other than just being plugged in because dumb bullshit. Speaking of plugging in dumb bullshit, let's hear Pete Hex's thoughts on how he's going to run the military. See, I knew I would transition away from TV and into actual news.
Ukraine was mentioned and ensures new wars are not started. There was a minor incursion under Barack Obama into Crimea, followed by nothing under President Trump, followed by an all-out assault by Vladimir Putin into Ukraine under the Biden administration. That did not happen under Donald Trump. Donald Trump managed the Taliban. Under the Biden administration, Afghanistan collapsed tragically, ending in the lives of 13 at Abbey Gate, who we remember every single day, and no one was held accountable for that. Chinese spy balloons were flying over the country. None of that happened under Donald Trump, and our warfighters understand that. So there's no better recruiter, in my mind, for our military than President Donald Trump. My job is to come alongside him, should I be confirmed, and continue to emphasize his emphasis on warfighting, on getting anything that doesn't contribute to meritocracy out of how decisions are made inside the Pentagon. What gender you are, what race you are, your views on climate change, or whether you are a person of conscience and your faith should have no bearing on whether you get promoted or whether you're selected to go to West Point or whether you graduate from Ranger School. The only thing that should matter is how capable are you at your job? How excellent are you at your job? I served in multi-ethnic units in every place that I worked, every place that I served. None of that mattered. But suddenly we re-inject DEI and critical race theory, dividing troops into different categories, oppressor and oppressed, in ways that they otherwise just want to work together. That's why I've pointed out before, and I'll say it again, and because I'm sure it'll be quoted to me at some point. The dumbest phrase in military history is our unity is our strength. No, our shared purpose is our strength. Our shared mission is our strength. We are one DoD community of all committed to the same mission. Has nothing to do with your background. Has to do with what your commitment is to the country. And that is my solemn pledge to every single person that would put the uniform on and reflects President Trump's priorities as well.
I think he meant our diversity is our strength.
Yeah, I was wondering our unity is our strength. I hadn't heard that before. And I was like, yeah, unity is probably a pretty good thing. But diversity.
He was talking about our diversity is our strength thing.
Yeah. He's making a lot of sense to me. I don't know how you argue with that, but I know there was a bunch of cackling hens that were fucking firing off retarded questions at him either before or after that statement. Do we have any of that?
I've got your favorite one queued up. Here you go, Pocahontas herself.
Now, Mr. Hegstaff, you have written that after they retire, generals should be banned from working for the defense industry for 10 years. You and I agree on the corrosive effects of the revolving door between the Pentagon and defense contractors. It's something I would have liked to talk with you about if you'd come and been willing to visit with me. But the question I have for you on this is, will you put your money where your mouth is and agree that when you leave this job, you will not work for the defense industry for 10 years?
Senator, it's not even a question I've thought about because it's not
think about
one
it right
that,
now.
It's not one. My motivation for this job.
I understand
has never
that. I
been
just
about
need
what
a
could
yes or no
conceivably
here.
come next.
Time is short. I just need a yes or no.
I would consult with the president about what the policy should be
In
at the Defense
other
Department.
words, you're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years. You're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
Look at this guy. This guy sitting next to her. As soon as he said that, he's like, oh fuck! Look at his eyes rolling in the back of his head. Oh my god, he's dead. He's like,
he's a major. So, Pocahontas, in her defense, she might not know the. She probably only knows the Native American rankings for. I don't know if you call it military service, but. Yeah, he's a major. That's what I was thinking. I was like, well, he's not a general. But it is kind of like when they say, like, oh, like Bernie Sanders is like, millionaires and billionaires should pay their fair share. And then he becomes a millionaire. He's like, billionaires should pay their fair share. I'm no longer one of those things. So, oh, God. Yeah, that's a great AOC moment for Pocahontas right there.
And then we had, I don't know if I've got any.
There was at least, I heard like a couple other clips, like from two women. It just sounded like a bunch of women were berating him with like stupid questions that you're never going to get. Like these confirmation hearings are always just so fucking pointless, where nobody gives you a straight answer. They're like, this is a yes or no question. And they're just like, blah, 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 blah. And it's like simple yes or no. And he's like, I'm not going to give you a yes or no to that. It's because it's like a gotcha question and you just want the fucking soundbite. I'm not going to give it to you. And then they're just like, okay, well, I'll take that as the answer that I wanted you to say.
Yeah. And I mean, for a Republican nominee, there's no reason to give a straight answer to any of the Democrats. Like, for the most part, they've already made up their mind. Like, John Fetterman already knows who he's voting for before any of this shit starts. So, like, you know, they already know. Yeah, I don't have the clip of this. I'm not sure what she's screeching about, but I think everybody saw this picture, and it's like Pete Hegseth is every single male on the planet.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, and I mean, there's all these allegations of like, well, there's at least one allegation of him sexually assaulting this woman. He allegedly drugged her and then raped her in his hotel room, except that they have her on camera like 20 minutes before they went up to the room. She voluntarily went up to the room with her, and she's interacting with people. She's perfectly fucking fine. She has not been drugged yet. They're no longer drinking. And then, you know, they have her on camera like 20 minutes later going into his room, and then she comes out, and she's just a dirty fucking whore, dude. Her husband is in the exact same hotel with their kids sleeping, and she goes into this guy's fucking room and goes to fucking Pound Town, comes back at like fucking 4 o'clock in the morning. Husband's like, where the fuck were you? And she's like, I was drugged. It's like the worst fucking, like, it is like cartoonishly bullshit. And she went to the hospital like 5 days later, because I'm sure the husband was not buying the story. And then she's just like, fine. We'll go get the rape kit done. But by then, of course, if he had slipped or anything, it would have been out of the system, but he didn't fucking slip her. There's like eyewitnesses. He's like, no, I talked to her like 15 minutes before they went upstairs. She was fine. She's on camera. She's not like stumbling or anything. She's perfectly fine. Yep. Just the dirty whore. Just the dirty whore getting caught doing dirty whore fucking things.
I'm trying to find it. I had a article that came out the other day before his confirmation hearing started. There was like basically everything that the left has tried to throw it at Pete Hegseth, like to attack him with. There was a FBI report that came out that like where the FBI looked into Pete Hegseth and all of this stuff, and it said that he was like his his record was unimpressive. Like there was nothing there. It was like all this stuff that they screech about were all giant nothing burgers. The FBI found like literally nothing on him to hold over his head. But that didn't stop him from screeching at him whenever they got to his confirmation hearing. You're muted.
I was trying to find a clip of some more cackling hens, and I think I got one queued up. So let's go ahead and I'll take the controls here. Close this. Hang on. And this one. So the Megyn Kelly show. Here we go.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement relating to this kind of conduct?
Senator, I was falsely accused in October of 2017. It was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared.
I don't think completely cleared is accurate. Will you resign as Secretary of Defense if you drink on the job, which is a 24/7 position?
I've made this commitment on behalf of
Will
the
you
men and women I'm
resign
serving.
as Secretary of Defense
I've
if
made this
you
commitment
drink
on
the
behalf
job?
of the men and women I'm serving.
I'm not
because it's the
hearing-
most important deployment
I'm not
of my
hearing an
life.
answer to my question, so I'm going to move on. Would you carry out an order to shoot protesters in the legs?
I saw 50
as
Secret
directed
Service agents
to
get injured by
Secretary Esper.
rioters trying to jump over the fence, set
Again,
the church on fire, and destroy
You know
a
what? That
statue.
sounds to me that you will
Chaos.
comply with such an order. You will shoot protesters in the leg.
Goddamn right I will.
Dude, it's so yeah. The other knock on him is that he's a fucking booze bag and he showed up to work fucking hammered all the time. I think I've heard like conflicting reports on that. It was like, I don't know, there was like a fucking like the New Year's Eve party or something, and he had some champagne, something like that, and then he like had to get a ride home, and then he showed up to work the next day. Like, I don't know, how fucking hammered could he have been? But yeah, booze bag, the allegations that so the chick that accused him of that sexual assault, he settled with that. He settled with her out of court. Here's another cat. Here we go. Let's cue up this chick.
Around, and she looked like a woman in her mid 40s last time I looked at her. It's also backed up by her history.
Lethal members of our military serving in the infantry, but you degrade them. You say, we need moms, but not in the military, especially in combat units. So please explain these types of statements because they're brutal and they're mean.
And I would point out, I've never disparaged women serving in the military. I respect every single female service member that has put on the uniform, past and present. My critiques, Senator, recently and in the past, and from personal experience, have been instances where I've seen standards lowered.
So you cannot denigrate women in general, and your statements do that. We don't want women in the military, especially in combat. What a terrible statement. Everything you've said in these public statements is politics. I don't want women. I don't want moms. What's wrong with a mom, by the way? Once you have babies, you therefore are no longer able to be lethal, because I don't want you thinking, can't serve if you're a mom, can't serve if you're LGBTQ, and then last, can't serve if you're a leftist.
Okay, I think we got the point. Dude, again, he never said that women shouldn't serve in the military. He's saying that they shouldn't serve in combat roles. I'm sure, they could whip up a big fucking stew for the troops when they come back from fighting. But
and like so I got a buddy that has talked about it before. Like, he had a friend that was a combat medic, and he was partnered with a female. So like, this dude is like 6'3", 240 pounds. When he's got his full ruck and everything, he's a solid 300 pounds. He was partnered with a chick that's like 5'1", 100 pounds soaking wet. He's like, I cannot, in a combat situation, I cannot go down. Like, I absolutely cannot go down, because if everybody is left to rely on her, we're all fucking dead.
Yeah. I mean, dude, they're trying to paint him as this like woman hater, womanizer. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. To me, when you want to protect women from going into combat, Seems like you like women a little bit. Like, what's all, women and children are the first ones off the Titanic. Who sends their women to go fucking fight in wars, dude? Besides the Jews. Like, I don't know, dude. I maybe I'm I don't know, just like a too old and traditional. But the men are supposed to go off to fight. I would never put, like, I wouldn't want my sisters going off to fucking fight a war against other men. Absolutely not. And
Right.
to me, that's protecting women. That's not like
Right, because
using them as cannon fodder shows that you care.
Right, because our enemies are not sending women to fight wars. Like,
no, because it's retarded. Why would you send in the beat? Dude, just look at the NBA versus the WNBA. Imagine, like, that's probably the combat differential. I don't know. I've never served, but I'm guessing if they're that bad at basketball, like, there's probably men that are that much better than them in combat situations. So why would you send somebody from the WNBA to make a fucking 3-point shot when you could send in fucking, I don't know, like whoever's making threes these days in the NBA? I don't watch that shit.
right. Would you take Caitlin
Steph
Clark
Curry
or
yeah.
Curry? Yeah.
Right, yeah. It's just like, well, women can be blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay. Sure. I don't know. It's all so stupid, but yeah, I wish I had that compilation of them. I should have flagged it because I definitely saw it somewhere where there's just like all these just fucking screeching women, dude. It's just like your worst nightmare. You just have to sit there and you can't fucking say anything. It's like, yeah, okay. Did you get
Right.
y'all get that out of your system?
Well, and like the 3-point shot comparison, it's like, and it's not even that simple. It's not like, would you rather have Steph Curry or Caitlin Clark take this three? It's like, for the military, it's, would you rather have Steph Curry or Caitlin Clark take this three while being guarded by Gary Payton in his prime? Like,
right.
That's the actual situation here.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, I don't know. I want to the extent that we're engaged in some military conflict, I'd like to win it, I suppose. I don't just want to get a bunch of women killed for no reason.
Well, and that's I did a daily on my show day before yesterday, talking about that, like how Pete Hegseth is probably going to serve as Secretary of Defense, and like some of the ideas and the ideals that he and Donald Trump are bringing to the military. And it's like, yeah, if we have to fight, we're going to fight to fucking win. We're not going to like go into endless, like, objectiveless conflicts. My favorite thing about the Hegseth versus Kirsten Gillibrand thing is the very next day, Pam Bondi was having her confirmation hearings for Attorney General. And I didn't listen to any of them, but I did end up going down this like crazy rabbit hole of so Pam Bondi is actually older than Kirsten Gillibrand. Here's their side-by-side comparison. Like,
are you serious?
Yes. Pam Bondi is 60. Gillibrand is 58.
Wow.
It gets better. This is a fucking rabbit hole. All right. Tim Walz is the same age as Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi's keeping it fucking tight for 60, man.
Liz Cheney.
No wonder Trump picked her.
Liz Cheney is younger than Pam Bondi.
Oh man, yeah, evil people just do not age well. I don't know anything about Pam Bondi really, but it'd be nice to have somebody easy on the eyes.
She was the Florida Attorney General for several years. She objectively pretty good, at least at the job. She's also very much a Trump loyalist. She was a big supporter and defender of him during his impeachments previously. So, and she's probably capable of doing the job, and that's about the extent of it. Like, there was, who was the other one? There was one more I found, and I can't remember the dude's name now. but it's another one of those that like when you Chris Coons of Delaware, this dude is like the least impressive looking motherfucker on the planet. Like he looks like an old bald dude, and he is 3 months younger than Pam Bondi. It's like
Bondi, yeah.
Liberalism just destroys you.
Yeah, well,
Mind,
even
body, and
the
soul.
young ones, right? Yeah, those pictures of the chicks that like before and after college, it's just like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, dude.
Right.
Look how they and then they put the Godfather in there. Look how they massacred my son. Oh shit. Well, was there any other so Hegseth is going to get confirmed. I don't know if that's already happened yet, or like they don't have the votes to stop it. I don't know. Pam Bondi will probably be fine as well. Who else was having the hearing? There was at least one other one, right?
And I'm not sure who was going today, because that was Hegseth was Wednesday, I believe. Bondi was yesterday. I think his Treasury Secretary is the one that's having his confirmation hearing today. Trump's Treasury Secretary is the one that a bunch of people made a big deal about. He worked for
George Soros or something. George Soros's fund. Yeah.
Like he managed the fund. He started out as a trader doing some other stuff, worked his way up, managed the Soros fund for a couple years, broke off and went and started his own fund, which George Soros loaded him a loan to start it. Within 3 years, he had completely paid back his loan and has successfully run his own hedge fund ever since then. There are certain doors you have to walk through in certain industries that if you're going to be successful, you probably have to do this at some point. And I mean, objectively, he's really good at what he does. And also he holds a lot of positions that we would be supportive of as far as like how to manage the treasury and stuff like that. He also kind of flies in the face of like Trump being homophobic because he is an openly gay man. Like his husband was sitting behind him at his confirmation hearings today. So
there you go. Got a little LGBTQIA plus 2S plus representation in there.
Regular gay men aren't included in all of that anymore. They're
yes, you have to be flamboyantly gay.
Yeah.
All right.
Be a normal gay dude anymore. That's unallowed or disallowed.
All right. Well, I think that's about everything, right? To wrap up this Friday.
That's all I got.
Cool. That was a fun one. But yeah, I gotta get going here. I gotta get to the gym, have some dinner, get this Friday night going. We're not doing happy hour. We did one last Friday. How late did you guys go? After
I don't know, not too much longer after you got off. Stephanie was being mean to everybody, and Nadia shamed her for being mean to everybody, and then she got mad and went to bed. And then me and Sean came over, and so Sean, and Jay played video games while Ariel talked to us, and that was
good times.
Yeah, it was fun.
Usually Sean's there early, but I don't know. I like it when Stephanie has one too many glasses of wine. It's fun.
Everybody thinks it's fun, but none of y'all have to live with it.
That is true. Yes, it's fun from a distance. It's fun when you can just turn off your computer and get away from it.
Right. If I was in Mexico, I'd probably think she's a fun drunk too, but I'm the one that has to sit here and get abused on a nightly basis.
Dude, there is definitely like a tipping point with some women where it's like there's like a perfect level of drunk, and then there's like a whole other gear that you do not want them to get to, and it happens very fast. And dude, I remember I was seeing this girl, and like she would get fucking crazy when she got too drunk, and so I'd try to like stop her from getting to that point, but she'd get angry at that. So it was like you were fucked either way. She's either going to get pissed at you for not letting her get to the fucking crazy level of drunkenness, and she's going to go crazy anyway, or you just let it happen and hope that she didn't go too nuts on you. Needless to say, that was a short dalliance.
For the record, my wife only abuses me to the extent that I like. So
there you go. Well, yeah, you're a glutton for punishment.
That I am.
All right. Well, if you do want to get in on the next Friday night happy hour, which will be 1 week from today at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, become a supporting listener of the show. I will link to the Substack in the description. You become a paying supporter of that, and that will automatically get you in. Maybe if I can find that episode, I'll link to it. I don't know. That might be hard for me to find. Years ago, I don't even know where to go, which computer that shit's on. But or I could probably find it. Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Have a nice weekend for us, everybody. Thank you so very much for listening. And until Tuesday, you guys know what to do. Just keep on peddling that so-called fiction. Peace.